What up, y'all? First I want to say thanks a lot for getting some of this butter. We have our regular butter and our sexy butter. And we're just going to show you this regular butter right now. I got a little Katy Perry here. And so, what to do, what's the best way to work this stuff? I found twisting it up is always really good to help get a wall thickness. It's really thick. I always like to wipe off my kiln dust with a wet paper towel. But, so one thing is you're going to want to get a blow tube about the same size. What I really like to do with this, and all glass really, is you gotta let the heat soak and penetrate into this. A little thinner there. I feel really good about that. And so there will be a little saw mark on each side, and I'll just pull that off later on. Drink a lot of coffee in the morning to excuse my shakes. So I like to heat this up with most of the flame on the butter, so the residual is going to melt down on that clear. Go ahead and heat that like that. I like to get that melted in nice, so you don't have to worry about it cracking later on if it cools. So we'll let that soak, develop the skin, give it a little puff. So we're going to come back here, figure out where we want to cut it, how much we want. And again, you definitely want to preheat this stuff up because it is definitely thick. I'm going to heat this up right here. And so to cut this, there's a few ways to do it. If you don't have one of these things, I'm going to just go ahead and show you how I would do it without it. But with one of those things, you'd roll it on there. I just barely like to roll it just to get like a little groove in it. And then I do the same thing I'm going to show you here. So I go ahead, get some heat base into there. So it is wobbly. We're just going to give it a little pull for my next blow tube size, about what I want. And then I'm just going to kind of put it on my marver and get that groove right there. And so now I'm just going to suck the heat out on the left side of that groove, just barely. I'm going to come over here, suck it out on the right side. And then slowly I'll start to bend it down. You can hear it start to crack. And now I got a full crack. The center's still wet, so we'll just kind of keep doing that. I don't know if you can hear that, but there you go. So you get a nice little crack, then you're ready to go. So throw some heat in there. I always like to keep my glass nice and warm. So I'm going to come up here and we're going to close this off. And this is to go ahead and develop a nice skin, or a nice even wall thickness. So go ahead and close that up. I like to keep my tools nice and cool. Like so cool. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get this nice. And if you got scuds there or whatever, you can just wipe it, take it off. You don't even lose much glass there. And so this is the thing about butter glass. It's a back stack, so if you don't pull it, you just pull that, leave it, you're going to get some color to bleed out. So what you need to do, just like any type of line tubing that's a back stack, or really anything, I like to just always do this. Look at this thin. It's okay if you blow that out. The goal is to get that thin. Get it as soon as possible. Keep doing it. I feel real good about that. Okay, and now the trick here is don't just let that gather and gather, because it'll gather up into a bleb and it'll do that. So you're going to want to just a little bit, a little blowout, a little bit. You don't want to develop a bleb. Okay, so I feel good about that. That's been blown out. It's getting even wall thickness. So I'll come back here, let the heat soak in there a little bit, come back here, preheat, heat soak. Go ahead and turn this up now. Let's turn it up some more. And so that's flowing out there. It's still really, really thick. So I'm gonna let that kind of thicken up right there, and I'm gonna close this off. So I do a lot of that open closeness. That's something you're just gonna have to learn up. So we'll go ahead and get this going, get some heat back here. Just keep bringing the heat back. And so what I was talking about is you could blow this up and just try to get your striations to be straight. But what I kind of like to do is just go ahead and push this up. Oh, get off of it. Okay. So the reason for it is, A, I really like it when it's pushed up like that. But B, it allows, like, especially like lawn tubing too, if there is any like one side that's a little thicker or higher viscosity, you can push it up and it like just pulls it deep. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this nice and good right here. Now I got the left side that's got a little bit of, it's been blown up a little bit, so I'm gonna come back here and work this. And then just work this to where I'm not getting heat on my blow tube, but I'm getting some heat to penetrate. Go ahead at this angle. Now what I'll do is I'll just kind of do a little puff. So that's sucking the heat out on your blow tube and then kind of allowing that to puff up. So we'll get that there, just get it puffed up a little bit. And like I said, you could just get this nice and straight. But again, I like to twist it up because I like that. So I'm going to just start to twist it a little bit, let that heat penetrate. You can see a little uneven wall thickness there. That's alright. What we're going to do is roll it. Get those things to come out. We'll roll this up again. And so I just blow that out and it's getting a nice even wall thickness there. So I'm not really pulling. And give it tiny little puffs. And so what's sticking out, touching the pads, cooling down, and what's not touching is going to get blowed out a little bit. We'll go ahead and push this up right here. And I didn't have to do a termination there, so I'm going to turn this, but I just want to show it that it is an important step. And so you can see different wall thickness there. Just go ahead and push that down a little bit. Blow it up. See if I like my twist and it looks all nice and uniform. It's pretty nice. We'll go ahead and do that again. I really like that twist up there. That's pretty nice. Pretty uniform. Then we'll pull that. I could have pulled it off and left that clear there. But again, we're just going to show the termination again because again, it's a very important part. And so that's thick there. We'll blow it out just a little bit. Get that thin as soon as possible. Okay. Again, blow it out. Won't let it bleb out. Now I'll close this off. You can use your hand and mouth. Remember, don't breathe in. I breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. That way you don't inhale anything. If you ever do, just keep it in your mouth. But again, I like to use my hand to close it. This allows it to, open it. This allows that glass to, wherever it's thick and you can see the darker spots, it'll allow it to just kind of hold more heat and get more shape in there and let it just thicken up. And so you can do this, as well as you can roll it down a little bit. I like to make sure my hand's nice and clean, like that. So that's getting all nice and condensed and everything. You can see back there, wall thickness is a little different, and that's just natural from backstacking anything. If it's just not perfect, one side's going to go down and then just pulls down around it. So you can go ahead and do this too. That'll get everything smushed down, much like an inside-out piece. I highly recommend making some inside-out stuff. You get to learn the different viscosities, how to get them in there. So go ahead and let that get a skin. I can see it's a little thinner back there than it is up here, so now I'm just going to make sure this is all starting to get perfect right here. Then I'm going to close this off. I can see that's lighter in the front, and I'm just going to let this just keep gathering up. And when I do this down, it's always open. When I go back, it's closed. Then sometimes I'll open it and let it thicken up. We'll go down there. I feel really good about that. And then we're going to go ahead and blow it up with a little skin. So we're going to go ahead and now this might take a little longer than trying to just work that in and go, but everything is just like getting the nice even ball. So that's what we're going to go for. So we're getting this open. I like to keep it nice and thin. Not too thick. I don't want my color to bleed out. Try to keep it where it's going down even. So we'll see we've got a blow tube sitting here. We'll throw some heat back into this because you can never have too much heat. So it's juicy, but we're not going there. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. And you could have had some blow tubes ready. This has always been my MO, is just do it. If I open big and let it cool down long, sometimes they'll crack. So I just go ahead and don't drink too much coffee in the morning, but you gotta do some stuff. So we'll go ahead and get this opened up a little bit. I like to get this a little thicker up here, just so I got meat up there. So we'll go ahead, get some heat back here because we're going to work on the front, and I just like to always keep it warm again. So we'll go ahead and heat this up. Get this nice and good. I'll shrink this down a little bit. Let that gather up a little bit on the edge there of that blow tube, and then we'll stick it. We'll roll it. And again, I'm only heating up the butter because it's got color and the viscosity is there, and it's a bigger diameter, so it'll heat up slower actually. You got all that, let it melt in, let it get good, get a nice get a little pop. That'll do much, just enough to get it nice and smooth and good and happy. If you're going really fast, you can blow that down. You don't want it to get too juicy if you pull this off right here. And so here we got that nasty little end right there, and we can show you how we're going to remove that without removing much glass. So it's really thick up there. We're just going to go ahead and get this, and then we're going to just wipe it, just wipe it, just wipe it, just wipe it, just wipe it. You can see all I did was really remove a lot of that clear, and then I removed all of that goo. We're going to wipe it, pull it up. So I'm really happy about that. Didn't waste much glass. So we'll throw some heat in there. And again, all about the termination. So that's pretty thin right there, but thin it out. Then you get it, smell your blood, ready your termination. And like that, you can kind of hold it so it doesn't fall in on itself too quickly. So now we'll get this. You can see it's thicker right there, because it's perfect. Just gonna go ahead and let some heat penetrate into this. Turn all this up now. You want a little more spin there? You can get that. You can see when I blew that was spinner right there. We're gonna go ahead and let this gather down and then gather back on itself. Let's go ahead and add a little more spin right there, just because we can. I don't like it. Fade that spin back so it doesn't get funky. Okay, no God. It's alright. Just want a little more spin right there. I like that. So pull that off. Heat that up and do another termination. Probably could let that melt in, but I don't really like it. There we go, that's kind of blowed out pretty good there, so I'm just going to let it, again, get that wall thickness. Did you see a little dot there? I bet that's a tiny, itty bitty tiny bubble. I'm not worried about it. A lot of glass has bubbles in it. And I'm pretty sure that's actually from the color. So, we use all firsts when we pull this down, but and I'll do line tubing when I'm pulling it down and do a big old air bubble that'll flop in there only from the color. That's a first. So you try to see it, but again, it's not a big deal. Small air bubbles. So I feel really good about that. You can see it's a little thick right there because it's darker. And then developing, letting it skin. That's the key. And so that's starting to look really, really good there. And again, I'm going to open it, close it, open. And that feels really, really good. Go ahead and let it gather back up. And that feels really good, and so really you can pull that down. You could have done whatever. You could have pulled that down if you were making a pipe. But right now, this will be for another section. Another really nice way to open these up is on the tool. There it is. If it's really thin like that too, you can go ahead and heat that up a little bit. Get that thing out there a little bit. We'll let that gather just a tiny bit. Just let a little residual melt that down. Okay, that feels really good. I'm really happy with that. It's going to look really good on something. And this is the Katy Perry. And that is Stardust over Milky Blue with 13 millimeters of clear on top of the color. 27 millimeters when we start out, 24 millimeters thick when we start out making this butter. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for your support. Stay elevated and check our artist, ambassador pages, free links, free webpage, little store. It's awesome. Elevate.